They say you can't hear heartbreak, but I swear I did. It sounded like my wife's voice laughing by the pool, talking about how she couldn't wait to try another man. I got home early that Saturday. Golf got rained out halfway through the back nine, so I headed home without calling. I figured I'd surprise Lisa and maybe take her out for brunch. What I didn't expect was the kind of surprise that makes your stomach drop. I came through the garage and headed inside. The house was quiet, but the sliding patio door was cracked open. That's when I heard voices, familiar ones. Lisa and her girls were out back by the pool. I heard laughter, mimosas clinking. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but something in their tone stopped me in my tracks. I can't stop thinking about it, Lisa said, her voice crystal clear through the open door. The way he looked at me, I need to know if it really feels different. Like Candace says. I told you, Dee, Becky, or Rebecca, now that she was on her responsible arc, cut in. You keep saying it'll be one time, but it never is. You're playing with fire. It's just once, Lisa insisted. I'll be careful. Jake won't find out. I'm not going to end up like Candace. I felt the air leave my lungs. My wife of over 20 years planning to cheat on me, like it was some weekend thrill, some experiment. The other women were chiming in, Steph and Cheryl, laughing, throwing in advice like this was some kind of club. And Lisa? She was soaking it up. Besides, she added, I already held it in my hand. I'm just curious now. My fingers curled around the patio screen. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. This wasn't some misunderstanding. She was describing it. How she met him. How she wanted it. I'd give anything to have a man like Jake, Rebecca said softly. You're playing with something real. You lose him, I swear. You're throwing away gold. Lisa just smirked. You don't understand. I have to do this. Just once. That's when something snapped inside me. I didn't think. I didn't plan. I pushed the patio screen open, so hard it popped off the railing. All four of them froze. Lisa looked up, eyes wide. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I walked straight to her, grabbed her left hand, and yanked off her rings. Wedding and engagement. Her mouth dropped open. Jake, wait. No. You made your choice, I said. You're not my wife anymore. Go enjoy your little science project. I threw the rings over the roof, across the lawn. She gasped. Steph stood up fast. Jake, chill. She didn't do anything yet. You think I care? I snapped. You planned it, with your little club of enablers. Cheryl stepped up, trying to play the peacekeeper. She touched my chest gently. Come on, honey. I shoved her backward into the pool. I'll be gone an hour, I said. When I get back, I don't want to see her here, or any of you. I turned to Rebecca as I walked inside. I heard everything, I said. I meant what I said before, but I won't touch you until the divorce is final. You'll need to choose your friends. Carefully. Rebecca's eyes were wide, but she nodded. Quiet. Thoughtful. A week later, Lisa got her wish. It was Friday night. The same ladies' night. They always hit up. Rebecca was there too, watching, because she'd seen this play out before. Same scene. Same club. Same mistake. Lisa smiled at the guy as she walked out of the bar with him. Rebecca didn't follow. She just watched, feeling sick. She knew him. One of those guys who hunts for married women because they're too ashamed to chase him afterward. Lisa went willingly, at his place. She told herself she was empowered, curious, bold. He demanded she remove her clothes. She reached for his zipper. He stopped her. Put your rings back on. I want to see them when you touch me. I can't, she said. My husband took them. He looked at her for a beat, and in that moment, something changed. His face shifted. She wasn't a mystery anymore. She was just available. Too easy. You can stay, he said, but I'm not your boyfriend. Don't expect me to cuddle you after. Lisa stood there stunned, then nodded. She was already naked. He wasn't gentle. He didn't care if she liked it. She was a body, not a person. Afterward, she lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling. Empty, numb. Within the hour, she was back at Steph's place, shaking, eyes red. And that's when it started. By morning, the cramps were unbearable. She passed out in the hallway. Steph found her on the floor and called an ambulance. At the hospital, it all blurred, machines, bright lights, people talking too fast. Emergency surgery. When she woke up, the doctor's voice was calm, but the words felt like a hammer. I'm sorry. There were complications. You won't be able to have children again. Lisa turned her face to the wall. You always think there's going to be a next time, another chance to make it right, or lie better, or just pretend none of it happened. But what if there isn't? They kept her in the hospital for 3 days. The first night, Lisa cried quietly when no one was around. The second night, she stared blankly at the ceiling. By the third, she was snapping at nurses and blaming everything but the man she slept with or herself. She called me, of course, for missed calls. I didn't answer. Rebecca told me what happened. Not all the details, just the important ones. I didn't ask for more. I didn't need to. The truth was simple. Lisa threw everything away for a cheap thrill and came back broken. That was the deal she made, and it was too late to change it. Meanwhile, I wasn't sitting at home feeling sorry for myself. That Saturday, I drove out to see our son at college. 2 hours each way, but worth it. We sat outside the campus cafe, drinking coffee. He could tell something was off. Is Mom okay? He asked. I looked him in the eye. She's not who she used to be. We're separating. He didn't ask questions, just nodded like he'd already seen it coming. Is it because of those parties she started going to? He asked after a while. I took a long breath. Yeah, it started there. That night, I drove back home and slept like a rock. First time in weeks. Lisa was released Sunday. She didn't go back to Steph's place. She showed up at her house. I found her sitting on the steps in the same hoodie she'd worn the day I kicked her out. I tried to call, she said. You changed the locks. No, I said. I changed everything. She followed me inside, rattling off her lines like she was rehearsing them all night. I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. It was stupid. I don't want to be at Steph's. I want to come home. I turned to face her. You already did what you wanted. That wasn't a mistake. That was a plan. And now it's over. You don't understand, Jake, she said, her voice trembling. It wasn't what I thought. It didn't even feel. I don't care how it felt. I cut in. You talked about it. You followed through. And now you're here because it wasn't fun. She stood there, shaking. I can't even, she started, then stopped. The doctor said, I know, that stunned her. Rebecca? I didn't answer. I just looked at her and said, You're not the victim here. For the next few days, she tried everything. Emotional guilt, nostalgia, even tried hugging me once. I stepped back. You're free now, Lisa. You always wanted to act single. Now you are. Don't cry about it. Own it. I told my assistant, Erin, to compile a list of affordable apartments in her name and email it to her work account. I even agreed to cover the first 2 months. That wasn't generosity. It was closure. Rebecca, meanwhile, showed up with a casserole for dinner one night. Her boys came with her. They shot hoops in the backyard while we talked on the porch. I figured you could use a friend, she said. I looked at her, the woman who once partied with Lisa and Steph, now raising 3 boys on her own, managing her own life, and never once asking for anything. You know, she's still trying to win me back, I said. Rebecca gave me a half smile. She always did hate losing. She left early, school night for the kids. But before she left, she kissed me on the lips, soft, respectful, but confident. That night, I slept better than I had in months. 2 days later, I got a call from Lisa again. She was crying on the other end. They gave me meds. I don't remember calling. I do, I said. I can't live like this, she whispered. I can't even function. You made your choices. You get to live with them. The phone went quiet. Later that night, Rebecca texted me. You okay? Yeah, just ghosts. They don't stay forever. I stared at those words for a while before I replied. I hope not. That Friday, Lisa hosted her own little welcome back party at her apartment. Same crew. Cheryl brought wine. Tasha brought gossip. And of course, Nikki showed up dressed like she was 20 years younger. The conversation started innocent enough. Then the drinks kicked in. I still don't understand why Jake won't take her back, Cheryl said. Because Jake finally saw what we've always known, Rebecca said, standing in the doorway. She didn't want a marriage. She wanted a season pass. Lisa's head snapped up. What are you doing here? Invited, Rebecca said calmly. And I've got something to say. Lisa stood. He's mine. I messed up, yeah. But you were waiting, were you? Just hanging around until I slipped. Rebecca stepped forward. You threw him away like he was a clearance item at a boutique. You didn't slip. You jumped. And now you're mad someone else caught what you dropped. Everyone froze. She didn't lose me the night she cheated. She lost me the moment she laughed about it before doing it. What came after? That was just the price. Lisa didn't answer. For once, she didn't have a snappy comeback. She sat down, looking small in a room full of women who once cheered her on. Tasha took a long sip of wine. Come on, girls. Let's not get ugly. I'm not being ugly, Rebecca said, eyes on Lisa. I'm being honest. Something you all should have tried before cheering her on like it was some Girls Gone Wild fantasy. Cheryl tried to break the tension. Maybe we all messed up. No, Cheryl, Rebecca said sharply. You let her mess up, and now you want Jake to pretend none of it happened. The silence that followed wasn't heavy, it was hollow. Like everyone suddenly realized they were just background noise in someone else's implosion. I came here tonight, Lisa said finally, because I wanted to see my friends. I didn't expect a lecture. No, Rebecca replied. You came here because you're scared. Not sorry. Scared. That stung. Lisa stood up, but her legs were shaky. She grabbed the back of a chair. Let me make something clear, she said. He's still my husband. Rebecca didn't flinch. No, he's not. I saw you at his office. I know you've been having lunch with him. And I waited, Rebecca said, because I respect him more than you ever did. Lisa's eyes welled up. You are a backstabber. No, Rebecca said calmly. I'm the one who told you to stop. I'm the one who said it wouldn't be just once. And you laughed in my face. Lisa stormed toward the door, but paused to glare at her. Stay away from him. Rebecca tilted her head. You're in no position to give orders. With that, she left. She didn't run. She didn't look back. She walked out like she'd just shut a chapter in a book she never wanted to read again. She didn't go straight home. She texted Jake. Mind if I stop by? Kids are with me. We're at the go-kart track. Come meet us. When she pulled up, Jake was standing in the parking lot with a grin and 3 boys holding root beers. They waved like she was family. She waved back and tried not to cry. Later that evening, the boys played basketball in the backyard while Jake grilled burgers. Rebecca helped set the table, her fingers brushing his arm once. She blushed. He noticed. I wanted to ask you something, he said after dinner, sitting beside her on the patio. What's that? Do you feel it too? This thing between us? She smiled. Yeah, I felt it for a while. I've been trying to take it slow, not just because of Lisa, but because it's been 20 years since I felt this way. Rebecca nodded. I haven't had anything real since my divorce, but with you it feels different. Jake took a breath. I want to be honest with you. When I held you in the batting cage the other night, it felt right, like coming home. She looked down and pulled something from her purse. An envelope. I got tested, just in case this went somewhere. Jake raised his eyebrows. I wanted to be sure I wasn't bringing any of the past into this, she said. I haven't been with anyone in over a year. I wanted you to know I'm serious. He took the envelope and set it aside. Rebecca, I'm proud of you for that. But more than that, I'm grateful you're in my life. They leaned in, kissed slowly, not the kind of kiss you regret, the kind that leaves you wanting to stop time. That night, for the first time in over 2 decades, Jake shared his bed with someone new. But this wasn't about revenge or lust. It was about finally being seen. She hesitated under the covers, pulling them to her chin. I'm not the same body I was 10 years ago, she said softly. Jake smiled and pulled the covers back. You're perfect. You're real. That's all I ever wanted. He touched her gently, slowly, with patience no one ever gave her before. She cried afterward, not because of pain, but because it felt like the beginning of something she thought she'd never have again. The next morning, she left early to check on her boys. Jake kissed her goodbye at the door. By mid-morning, Rebecca returned, with all 3 sons in tow. Jake greeted them with a smile and fired up the grill again. They sat around the fire pit after dinner. Jake looked at the boys. Can I talk to you guys? Man to man. They nodded. I care a lot about your mom. I'd like to keep seeing her, but only if you're okay with it. They looked at each other, then back at Jake. The oldest nodded first. Yeah, sir. We'd like that. Jake stood, and the boys stood too. He pulled them all into a hug. That's when the youngest looked up and asked, Will you be our new dad? Before Jake could answer, the doorbell rang. Rebecca turned toward the house. I got it, she called, walking through the patio. She opened the front door and immediately stumbled back. Lisa. Her hair was a mess, her eyes bloodshot. She barged into the house. What are you doing here? Rebecca planted her feet. What are you doing here? Lisa didn't blink. Where's my husband? You mean Jake? Rebecca replied. He's outside, with my boys. Lisa took a step forward. Then I'll wait. I have something to tell him. Something big. She said she had something big to tell me. The last time she said that, she tore my heart in half. This time she brought something worse. Lisa stood in the middle of the living room like she still owned it, like the couch was still hers, like I hadn't torn that screen door open weeks ago and ended everything. Rebecca blocked her path without flinching. You need to back up. I came to talk to my husband. Lisa snapped. You don't have a husband, she said, arms crossed. Lisa glared at her. This is still my house. Not anymore. You live on Elmwood Drive, remember? I walked in, wiping barbecue sauce off my hands. The second I saw Lisa, I knew the night was about to derail. Why are you here? I asked. Lisa's tone flipped immediately. Jake, I need to talk. Just you and me. Please. Rebecca stepped aside, but stayed close. Lisa noticed. I went to the hospital. There were complications. I had surgery. I know, I said. Lisa blinked. Rebecca told you? Yes. She swallowed. They said I'll never be able to have children again. She expected a reaction. Shock, sympathy, maybe even regret. I gave her none of that. I'm sorry for what happened, but it doesn't change anything between us. Her mouth opened, then closed. I lost something, she whispered, and I'm scared. You lost a lot more than that, I said, and it wasn't just from surgery. Tears welled up, but she fought them back. I want to try again. You're not here because you love me, I said. You're here because you're alone. That's not the same thing. Rebecca stood in the kitchen doorway, silent, strong. Lisa looked between us. So that's it? You're just replacing me? No, I said. I'm moving on. You made sure I had to. Her hands trembled. I never meant for it to go this far. You made choices, repeatedly. Now you live with them. She turned toward the door, humiliated, but not defeated. Not yet. I'll be in touch, she muttered before slamming it behind her. That night I couldn't sleep. Not because I felt bad, but because I didn't feel anything for her anymore. The woman I once loved was gone long before that guy ever touched her. A few days passed. Rebecca and I kept things quiet. We didn't rush, but the connection deepened. She brought her kids over again. We grilled, played ball, and talked like a family. The boys started calling me coach, which made me laugh. One night, Rebecca and I sat outside after the kids were asleep. Did you mean what you said that day? She asked. About what? Wanting something real with me. I looked her straight in the eyes. Yes, and more than that, I need it. She took a breath, then pulled something from her purse. A piece of paper. This is a lease I signed for a new apartment. My own. Close to you. Big enough for the boys. I was caught off guard. Why? Because I want to build something from scratch. Not just move into your world. She kissed me then, slow, intentional, and deep. And that's when I knew. I wasn't just rebuilding. I was starting over with someone who actually wanted to be there. Meanwhile, Lisa was unraveling. Rebecca told me about another night with her crew. Another party. Another meltdown. That time, they ended up in the back of a police cruiser after someone made a scene in a club parking lot. No DUI, but they were all hauled off to a sobering station. Lisa called me collect. I didn't answer. I didn't even flinch. She left a voicemail, her voice raw. You could have picked me up. You could have helped me. I deleted it without listening to the rest. Saturday morning, I picked up donuts and took Rebecca and the boys to a nearby lake. We fished, ate too many snacks, laughed like none of us had a past. That night, Rebecca opened up about her ex. How he left her for someone younger. How it crushed her self-worth. How it took her years to realize it wasn't her fault. You didn't ruin your marriage, I told her. You just gave it to the wrong person. She smiled and leaned her head on my shoulder. I don't want perfect, she said. I just want real. You've got it, I replied. That was the first night she stayed over with no hesitation, no barriers. We were finally whole. The next morning, the doorbell rang again. Rebecca opened it, this time calmly. Lisa stood there again. But this time, she wasn't shaking. She was smirking. I hired a lawyer, she said, and I'm ready to fight. Rebecca didn't blink. Good, she said, because so am I. She walked in like she still had power, like she could pull the brakes on a train she set on fire. But what she didn't realize, we'd already rebuilt the tracks. Lisa didn't come to talk. She came to threaten. She had a new lawyer, some slick guy with a billboard off the freeway and a reputation for digging up dirt. She said she was going to fight for the house, the cars, half the business. Whatever she could sink her nails into. I gave you 20 years, she said. Don't think I'll just walk away with nothing. Rebecca stayed silent beside me, not intimidated, just disgusted. I looked Lisa dead in the eye. You gave me 20 years, and you took the last 5 for yourself. You're cold, she hissed. I'm clear, I replied. Truth is, I'd already worked it all out with my own attorney. I wasn't trying to leave her with nothing, but I wasn't going to let her pretend this was a marriage she tried to save. I made sure she'd have a place to live, a car, even offered a one-time payout instead of dragging things into a courtroom. Not out of guilt, but because I didn't want to see her burn her own life down further. Lisa didn't want closure. She wanted a stage, and when she realized she wasn't getting it from me, she went after Rebecca. You think he's going to marry you? She spat. You're just a comfort blanket. Once he's over me, he'll drop you too. Rebecca's face didn't move, but I saw her fist clench. You had something good, she said softly. You threw it away. Don't be mad, someone else knew how to hold it. Lisa stormed out, but not before knocking over a vase on the way. It shattered against the tile. Symbolic. After she left, I looked at Rebecca. Still want to be part of this mess? She smiled. I'm already in it. Might as well win. The divorce date was set for 4 weeks out. But Lisa didn't wait. She started showing up at places I'd go, trying to stir something. She even flirted with one of my clients at a networking event, knowing I'd be there. It was pitiful. At the same time, she began confiding in her old friends about what happened after that night with the guy from the club. The surgery, the infertility. They started backing off. Candace stopped inviting her out. Tasha ghosted her for a week. Cheryl only responded with heart emojis. Suddenly, Lisa wasn't the party queen. She was a liability. Rebecca told me one night she thought she was building an empire. Turns out it was just scaffolding. We had dinner with her boys again that weekend. Her oldest helped me fix the fence out back. Her middle son asked if I'd coach his school team. The youngest started calling me Jay. It was the first time I thought, maybe this is what real family feels like. That night, after the boys went to bed, Rebecca and I sat on the couch. No TV, just quiet. I've never seen them so calm, she said. They like you. A lot. I like them too, I said. And I love you. It came out before I even thought about it. She turned to look at me. Say it again. I love you. Rebecca's eyes filled, but she didn't cry. She kissed me instead. Slow, certain. It wasn't about passion. It was about peace. Peace I hadn't felt in years. Then came a call. Lisa. Again. But this time, she wasn't crying or screaming. She was quiet. Jake, she said. I signed the papers. I was stunned. You did? I talked to my lawyer. I'm done fighting. Silence. I can't change what I did, but I don't want to ruin your life. I already did enough. I didn't say anything. She sighed. Do you love her? Yes, I said without hesitation. I hope she treats you better than I did. She hung up. I stared at the phone. Rebecca reached over and took it from my hands, set it face down on the table. I'm proud of you, she said. I'm proud of us. We didn't need music or champagne. We had silence, warmth, and the knowledge that the storm had passed. Lisa filed the papers Monday morning. I didn't attend the signing. I didn't need to. That part of my life was finally over. But the next part? It was just getting good. The funny thing about endings is they don't always feel final. Sometimes they feel like a sigh, like the moment you finally stop holding your breath. Lisa was out of my life for good. Legally, emotionally, spiritually. However you want to say it, she was gone. But the imprint she left, that took longer to fade. I spent the next week settling into normal life. Rebecca and I didn't jump into celebrations or change our relationship overnight. We just kept doing what had been working. Honesty, time, and no games. On Wednesday night, Rebecca came by with homemade chili. Her boys were with their dad that evening. A rare handoff that actually happened. We ate on the couch, trading stories from our day. She told me about a coworker who got fired for watching car crash videos on company time. I told her about a vendor who tried to bribe me with basketball tickets. The laughter came easy. The comfort was unreal. "Can I ask you something?" she said, setting down her bowl. "Shoot. Why didn't you stop earlier?" "Lisa, I leaned back because I was in denial. I knew something changed, but I didn't want to admit it. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you had?" "Yeah. I'd probably still be married to a stranger." Rebecca nodded slowly. "I'm glad you didn't stop her then." "Me too." That night, I walked her to her car like I always did. But this time, before she got in, she didn't open the door right away. "I feel like I should say something deep," she said, smiling. "You don't have to. I just feel grateful. For you. For this second chance. Even if we're technically not newlyweds or spring chickens or whatever." I grinned. "You mean we're not TikTok material?" She rolled her eyes and kissed me. "We're better." The next day, I got a text from Rebecca during lunch. "Can you watch the boys Friday night?" "Girls' night. Not wild, I promise. Just Carla and Tasha." "Sure, as long as no karaoke videos come out of it." She laughed in reply. Friday came fast. Rebecca dropped the boys off with a lasagna and strict instructions. No soda after 9. No horror movies. And don't let the youngest trick you into letting him sleep in your bed. "Copy that," I said with a salute. The boys and I had a blast. We played video games, watched a superhero movie, and had a whipped cream fight that ended with all 3 of them ganging up on me. When they crashed out around midnight, I finally sat down to catch my breath. And then my phone buzzed. It was Carla. Just 2 words. "You up?" My stomach dropped. Carla never texted me, ever. I replied, "Yes." "Why? Everything okay?" Her reply came fast. "You need to come get Rebecca." Now, I grabbed my keys and flew out the door. When I got to Rebecca's apartment, the scene was worse than I imagined. Carla met me in the hallway. She's not hurt, but she's upset, really upset. I walked in and found Rebecca sitting on the couch, eyes red, mascara smudged. Tasha was holding her hand. A half-empty bottle of wine sat on the coffee table, untouched for over an hour. "She didn't want to tell you," Tasha said, but I told her she had to. I sat next to her. "What's going on?" Rebecca looked up. Her voice cracked. She was there. "Lisa?" She nodded. "At the restaurant." She walked up to the table and just stood there like a ghost. "What did she say?" "She said she was sorry, that she hopes I take care of you, that I don't mess it up like she did." I didn't expect that. Rebecca wiped her eyes. It wasn't what she said. It was how she said it. Like she'd already disappeared. Like she wasn't even living in her body anymore. Tasha added, she looked thin, pale, like someone who hasn't slept in weeks. I took Rebecca's hand. "She's not our problem anymore." "I know," she said, but it still shook me. We didn't go back to her place that night. I brought her home, tucked her into bed, and kissed her forehead like she was porcelain. The next morning, while making breakfast for the boys, I heard a knock at the front door. It was a courier, manila envelope in hand. I signed for it, opened it, and found a letter from Lisa. 2 pages. Handwritten, neat, clean. The first line stopped me cold. "I'm leaving the city. I need to disappear for a while." The letter was full of apologies. Honest ones. No manipulation. No begging. Just acceptance. The last paragraph hit hardest. "I know I'll never be a mother now, and I know I'll never be your wife again, but I hope someday I become someone I'm not ashamed of. Take care of her, Jake. She's everything I never knew how to be." I folded the letter, placed it in a drawer, and went back to the kitchen. Rebecca looked up from her coffee. "Was it her?" I nodded. "Is she okay?" I hesitated. "She's not well, but she's trying." Rebecca got up, walked around the table, and hugged me from behind. "I'm not her," she whispered. "I know," I said, "and that's why you're here. When someone breaks your heart, They don't just walk away with your love. They take the future you thought you were building together. And if you're lucky, you build something better. A week passed. The letter stayed in the drawer. I didn't read it again. I didn't need to. Lisa was gone, not just out of my house, but out of my story. Rebecca, though, she was becoming the whole story. That Sunday afternoon, we took the boys out to the local park. Hot dogs, a worn-out soccer ball, and a cooler full of juice boxes. It was simple but perfect. After the boys took off toward the field, Rebecca leaned on the picnic table next to me. "You ever think about getting married again?" she asked casually. I didn't look at her right away. "I do." "Really?" "Yeah. Not because I miss marriage. I miss sharing life with someone." She smiled. "Good answer." I turned to her. "Why are you proposing?" She laughed. "Please. If I ever propose, there'll be fireworks and a marching band. I'll hold you to that." She grinned. Then her face softened. "I'm serious, though. I think about it too. With you." Before I could answer, her phone buzzed. She looked down. Her smile vanished. "What is it?" She held up the screen. Group message. "Diana's throwing a party Friday night. Invited the old gang. Wants everyone to come. Says it's a fresh start." I raised an eyebrow. She wants to start over by drinking with the same people who cheered her into disaster? Looks like it. "Are you going?" Rebecca shook her head. "Not a chance." "Then neither am I." But Friday came anyway, and so did the drama. Carla, ever the stir, decided to go just to check in on Lisa. Tasha, too. They couldn't help themselves. They came back with stories. "She was a mess," Carla said. "Like fake hep, overdoing it." Tasha added, "She kept bringing up you. Like every 5 minutes, telling people you and Rebecca were just a phase." Rebecca listened, lips pressed into a tight line. Then Carla dropped the bomb. She also said she was thinking about writing a letter to your son, explaining her side of everything. That pushed Rebecca over the edge. "She doesn't get to involve him. Not now. Not ever." I nodded. "She won't. She'll try," Tasha warned. "But she's not okay. She's spiraling." Rebecca looked at me. "What do we do?" "Nothing," I said. "Let her spin. We're grounded." And we were, stronger than ever. But Lisa wasn't done. The next day, she showed up again. Not at my house. At my office. My assistant Erin knocked on my door looking frazzled. "There's a woman in the lobby. Says she's your ex-wife. Won't leave until you speak to her." I stepped into the hallway and saw her through the glass. Lisa, sitting stiffly in a chair. No makeup. Dark circles. A tote bag at her feet. She looked like someone who'd lost everything and still didn't know how. I walked up to her. "You're not supposed to be here. I needed to see you." "Why?" She pulled a small envelope from her bag and handed it to me. "This is the last thing. Then I'll be done. I promise." I didn't open it. She stood. "I'm not here to get you back. I know that ship's gone. I just wanted to say thank you for not making the divorce uglier than it had to be." She paused. "And I want you to know I'm getting help. Real help. A program. Therapy." I studied her face. She wasn't lying. "Not this time. I hope you stick with it." "I will." Then she reached into her tote again and pulled out a photo. It was us. Our wedding day. She looked at it, smiled, and then tore it in half. Not violently. Just enough to let go. "I'm done clinging to something that doesn't exist anymore," she said. "You're free. I think I finally am too." She walked out, never looking back. I never saw her again. Back at home, Rebecca found me sitting on the back deck, photo in one hand, envelope in the other. She came by. "Yeah. You okay?" "I think I actually am." Rebecca sat beside me. "So what's in the envelope?" I handed it to her. "Open it." She peeled it open, pulled out a single sheet of paper. A note. "To whoever Jake chooses next, be good to him. He gave me everything, and I gave him nothing. If you're the woman he trusts again, hold on to him tight. He deserves peace. He deserves love. He deserves more than I ever gave him." Rebecca folded it slowly. Her eyes were glossy. "She was right," she said. "You deserve all of that." I reached for her hand. "I already have it." She walked out of my life with a goodbye I didn't expect, and left me with a future I never thought I'd have again. The following week it was quiet, peaceful, the kind of quiet you earn. Lisa's name didn't come up anymore. Not in texts, not in conversations, Not even in the back of my mind. The war was over, and I wasn't dragging the wreckage into my new life. Rebecca and I found a rhythm. Lazy Sunday mornings with bad pancakes. Weeknight grocery runs that turned into mini dates. Quiet evenings when her boys were doing homework and we just sat side by side, content. One Friday, she came over with a little brown paper bag. I was in the garage, organizing some old boxes when she waved it in the air. I brought something. Please tell me it's food. She smirked. Better. Inside the bag, 3 keychains. One said Coach. Another said Bonus Mom. The third, a tiny engraved tag that said Home. I held them in my hand, stunned. These are perfect. They're from the boys, she said. They want you to know they're all in. I felt something tighten in my chest. Not pain, not sadness, just full. A kind of emotional fullness I hadn't felt in years. Later that night, Rebecca asked me if I ever thought about moving. Not far, she added. Just a house that's ours. Not yours. Not mine. Something new. It hit me hard, because I had been thinking the same thing. I'd love that, I said, but only if it has a terrible kitchen, so I can justify letting you order takeout all the time. Deal, she grinned. That weekend, we went house hunting. Not seriously, just dipping our toes, but every place we walked into. We imagined kids doing homework at the table. Movie nights in the den. Morning coffee on the porch. We were building a life before either of us had said the words out loud. 2 weeks later, we stood in my kitchen. It was late. The boys were asleep. The house was still. Rebecca leaned on the counter. Do you want to know the real reason I waited for you? I nodded. Because I knew what it was like to love someone who didn't love me back. And when I saw what she did to you, I promised myself if you ever let go of her, I'd be there. Not to catch you, but to walk beside you. I swallowed hard. You didn't just walk beside me. You helped me stand. She smiled, then reached into her purse again. This time it wasn't a keychain. It was a small white envelope. I've been carrying this for months, she said, in case I ever felt brave enough to give it to you. I opened it slowly. Inside was a folded piece of paper. Her STD test results. Negative across the board. Dated the week after she told me she was ready to move on from her past. I looked up. I wanted you to know I was coming to you clean. No lies. No baggage. No secrets. I stared at her for a long moment, then pulled her into a hug so tight it almost hurt. Thank you, I whispered, for being everything she wasn't. She tilted her head. That's not fair. I blinked. What do you mean? She gave you a child. I never can. The words stung more than I expected. Bex. She stopped me. I know it's not my fault, but I also know what you lost, and I need you to know that I'm not a replacement for her, and I'm not trying to be. I took her hands in mine. You're not a replacement, I said. You're my restart, and you've already given me more than I ever thought I'd have again. She kissed me then, long and deep, like a promise. That night, as we lay in bed, tangled up in each other, I said something I hadn't said since I wore a ring. I want to grow old with you. She turned to face me, tears in her eyes. Then let's start today. We didn't talk about Lisa after that. We didn't need to. She had been a chapter. Rebecca was the book. You don't always get closure with fireworks or perfect timing. Sometimes it comes in the quiet, when you finally realize you don't want what you lost back. Not even a little. 7 months after the divorce, I got a message from Lisa's lawyer. She wanted one final meeting before we went in front of the judge to finalize everything. Nothing legal, just a talk. 1 hour. Neutral location. She said she wouldn't fight the agreement anymore. Rebecca asked me if I was okay going. I was. We met in a small office across town. Lisa looked different, healthier. No makeup, no dramatics, just jeans and a sweater. She was holding a folder. Thanks for coming, she said quietly. I nodded. Let's keep it simple. She gave a small, sad smile. That's fair. We sat. I wanted to say something for real this time. Not dramatic. Not defensive. Just honest. I let her speak. I was selfish, she said. I was impulsive. I let people hype me up into thinking I was missing something. That marriage was some kind of trap. But I was wrong. About a lot. She reached into the folder and handed me a photo. Me, her, and our son on his high school graduation day. I thought I could make new memories and just forget the old ones. but I can't. And maybe I shouldn't. They weren't all bad. No, I said. They weren't. She looked at me, then down. I'm not here to beg or ask for anything. I just want to say sorry. Not for cheating, for giving up. On us. On you. On being a decent wife. I took a breath. Let it settle. I appreciate you saying that, I told her. But we're too far past it to rewind. I know, she said, eyes misting. You look happier. Peaceful. That woman, Rebecca, she's good for you. She is. Lisa wiped her eye. I hope you both get everything I wasn't willing to give. I stood. We'll be in touch for birthdays. Holidays. For our son. But that's all. She nodded. That's enough. That's fair. As I walked out, I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel triumphant. Just done. Like something that once weighed 100 pounds had finally disappeared from my shoulders. When I got back home, Rebecca was sitting outside on the porch swing, a blanket around her legs, hot tea in her hands. She looked up when she saw me. How was it? Not as hard as I thought. She patted the seat next to her. I sat. She leaned into me. You want to know what she said? I asked. Rebecca shook her head. I don't need to. That night, we made dinner together. Her boys joked about my terrible knife skills. We laughed, danced to music in the kitchen, and later watched a movie that none of us finished because we all passed out halfway through. It wasn't perfect. It was better. Because it was real. Weeks later, I asked Rebecca to marry me. No ring yet. No flash. Just a question whispered in the dark while we lay under the stars. She said yes. No hesitation. And her boys? They were thrilled. They already called me Jay like I was theirs. Now I would be. We didn't plan a big wedding. No guests from the past. Just the people who mattered. A small cabin ceremony in the fall. Vows written by hand. 3 teenage boys standing with us, not behind us. Lisa didn't attend. She sent a note. Just one sentence. Don't lose this one. But I wasn't going to. Because this time, I didn't marry a fantasy. I chose a partner. Someone who didn't need to be impressed. Just loved. And I finally understood something most people never do until it's too late. It's not about who starts with you. It's about who stays when everything falls apart and helps you rebuild. Piece by piece. Bruise by bruise. Until love isn't a gamble, it's a guarantee. And with Rebecca, I finally had that. Forever.